And that leads me into our lead story of the day regarding the National Hockey League putting out a tweet that's pushing this gender ideology nonsense. And it is not sitting well with fans whatsoever, folks. They are getting raked through the coals on Twitter. Now, I played ice hockey for 25 years. I played in Canada. I played college. I referee ice hockey. So I'm very in tune with what's been going on from the youth level all the way to the NHL and how it was only a matter of time before something like this happened. But what I will say is the National Hockey League is probably one of the most patriotic, conservative leagues out there, at least sports, meaning hockey itself, in the world. And I'll give you a prime example before we get into the tweet itself. The National Hockey League, all the way down to even minor level hockey, meaning pros, to youth, is you will have coaches, and this has all been recorded in locker rooms, from the NHL to the minor league hockey, that if you're not going to stand for the national anthem, don't even bother getting dressed. This is to NHL players, to minor players, to college players. You don't want to stand for the national anthem, don't even bother getting dressed because you're not going to play a single minute. You're not going to hear that in the NFL. You're not going to hear that in the NBA. They're wearing their bracelets, their headbands, don't stop racism on the back of their helmet. Even though I'm for stopping racism, I don't like it. But sports is supposed to be an opportunity to where we can get away from the politics of the world, the craziness, and just sit down with a nice cold brew or, a glass of scotch or whatever it may be that you like to drink and eat, and just watch sports, watch grown men beat the crap out of each other. That's hockey for you. It's not this gender ideology, put your hair in pigtails and nice little ribbons, go, let's go play some hockey. That's not the sport. But this is stuff that the NHL wants to push, and they're getting major backlash. So here's a tweet. The NHL is proud to support this past weekend's Team Trans Draft Tournament in Middleton, Wisconsin. This was the first tournament comprised entirely of transgender and non-binary players, with around 80 folks participating. And if you can see, they got pigtails and all this stuff, and there's a nice little, let's see if we can click on it here, nice little image of We Heart Trans, Teams Trans. And this is where the NHL goes, and this is where the NHL wants to push their gender ideology upon their fans, which, like I said, is not the crowd that you want to push this towards by any means. So someone responded to the NHL's tweet, and we got a bunch of them for you, by writing, "So men playing on women's team, question mark?" The NHL replied by claiming trans women are women, trans men are men, non-binary identity is real. They are not catering to their base whatsoever. And there's been times where hockey fans just will not show up. I mean, I remember when Gary Bateman, the leader, the commissioner of the NHL, pissed a lot of fans off. They're like, we're just not going to show up to the games. And the owners of the franchises got super upset because he pissed a lot of them off. This could have massive ramifications for the league. We just won't show up. We won't watch your stuff. We're not going to put up with this crap. If you want to indoctrinate children and youth in our school system, if you want to inject all this stuff in our sports, we won't have any of it. We won't show up. You're going to lose money. And that's going to be the end of that. I would also like to point out, I know this is obvious to all of you, but trans women are just biological men who identify as women, while transgender men are biological women who identify as men. That's all it is. But this is stuff they want to push. Here's Ben Shapiro saying, amazing to watch sports leagues that rely on extraordinary performance by biological men, as well as the viewership of disproportionately male audiences, parrot the idiotic anti-biological garbage of the woke contraire, rather, forgive me. So they don't know. Somebody had to sit down, right, in like a room with a bunch of people that are execs of the NHL, go, this is the message we want to push. This is exactly what we want to do. Our base is just going to love it. They're going to absolutely love it. Shapiro goes on to say, if this is true, why aren't there any trans men in the NHL? They're real men, after all. Must be terrible and vicious discrimination. Again, bear with me, folks. I am sick, so I'm going to lose my voice here in a moment. In reality, what Ben is saying, look, why are there not any women in the NHL? If they are biological women, but they are identifying as men, why are they not in the NHL? Put them on the ice and see what happens. And I'll give you an example, because I referee college. I've seen women play college hockey in the ACHA, for example, and normally hit by just a casual hockey hit. Multiple times I've seen this. Fall on the ground crying. You don't see them the next week. They're all bandaged up. They got their arm in a sling and everything like that because they couldn't take a normal hit. Because these men are huge. They are men. There is a difference biologically between men and women. You put a casual woman that's been playing hockey her entire life, just a natural woman on that ice, You're never going to see somebody get blown up so hard in their entire life. That's why. And they have no business being there. I'm just going to say it outright. Women do not have any business playing in the NHL. You could play hockey, but you know, if you're a hockey player and you're a woman, you know what's going to happen if you step on that ice with grown men. You know automatically. But the progressive left, that's what they want to see. The progressive left want this stuff. It's so mind-blowing. And the NHL wants to be stupid enough to put it out there for all eyes to see. Quote, the NHL becomes the latest organization to totally debase itself for the sake of pandering to people who aren't their customers and never will be. That's exactly what I just said, and that comes from Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire. Quote, if trans women are women, shouldn't the NHL completely support eliminating the sport being divided by men and women? If there's no biological difference, then only have hockey. No men's hockey, no women's hockey, just hockey. How will that work out? Oh, yes, just men tweeted. That's from David Hooksteed of Outkick. Never heard of him before, but he's not wrong. He's absolutely not wrong. We also have another person here that said, would you like some nonsensical horse pucky with your professional ice sport? NHL was getting ratioed for its denial of reality, so it no longer allowing responses, meaning now you can't even comment on the damn thing because they realize that they screwed up, but they're going to keep it there. They're going to keep it. They don't want to hear what their fans have to say. I hope, for the love of God, there is major backlash here by the NHL because their base doesn't want this. The natural supporters of hockey don't want this. We like watching fights. Can you imagine, just for the sake of this, say they started doing this. They started pushing this narrative. They started putting transgender people on the ice, meaning biological women that are identifying as men, and they go scrap with a guy that's 6'5", 250, just natural bruiser on the ice, known as a fighter. He's fourth line. That's all he does is fight. How do you think that's going to end for that person's face? How do you think that's going to end for that person that's going to get lit up? Not very well. And you know what's going to cause more problems? Because that woman's teammates, even though she identifies as man, that woman's teammates are going to protect them because that's their teammate. That's what we do. We protect. So it's just going to create a lot more chaos. There's going to be disruptions. But let's be honest. Some LGBTQ person in the NHL that somehow got up there on social media and a bunch of them somehow climbed the ranks are now pushing their dumb ideology upon all of us that just want to freaking watch a hockey game. I don't want to see somebody go, oh, end racism, even though I think it's a good idea to end racism. I don't want to see politics in the sports sphere. I want to sit down with my old fashioned. I want to sit down, possibly if I'm outdoors, with a TV outside, with a cigar, a nice whiskey or scotch, and watch the game with the boys and not have to see this stuff interjected. And there's going to be backlash. I'm telling you, if they keep pushing this stuff, if they don't listen to their fans, I guarantee you, we're all just going to sit there and boycott the NHL. I don't need that crap. I'll sit there and watch old hockey in the 90s where guys actually sit there and we're rough, tough, bruiser hockey that we don't really even see today. Now it's all finesse. Now it's all foo-foo because the NHL wants to make it more family-friendly according to them. So let me know what you think about this one in the comments below. Is there any NHL fans out there? Because Ben Shapiro actually is not an NHL fan. He's a Major League Baseball fan. I watch it. I played it. I still referee it. I don't like it whatsoever. And I'm the base. You're talking to the person that sits there and grows up and watches the NHL almost every single day. Let me know in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.